Yep. Inside, I want to kill myself. We are on an 0-7 run over the last 2 days. After tonight was just complete bullshit. So that's how I'm going to start off this show. Horrible Sunday, 1-5. I don't even know what to tell you about that. I just don't want to do this anymore. I have never seen anything like this, man. With the slump continuing, 2 straight losses, not a good day at all. 0-4. I just have not had a good season, man. What kind of slump that I'm on? The slump continues. I've reached a new peak, actually. I'm going to burn my Bruins hat, man. I don't know what is going on with the Bruins. March 8th, is that what it is? I don't even know. It's March 9th, I think. Who even knows, man? I don't know what day it is anymore. I don't even know what day it is anymore, man. Back with you after the worst day that I could possibly have. Back with you, as I always am. Until I die, at least. 0-2 yesterday, and yesterday did not go well for me. 0-5. The worst month that I've ever had in my 18 years doing this. I don't know what to even tell you about this anymore. Broke the slump yesterday as the slump discontinues. The slump continues. Somebody fucking kill me, please. I don't even know what I should do at this point other than potentially end it all. What's up, everybody? It's Toad back with you. This is Toadstool Sports, the Bracketology show for Monday, February 9th. I know I released an update to the Bracketology on Thursday, so maybe I'll just do that for most of February. I guess do the show, do Thursday, and then I'll probably do like a final one of these shows at some point. I guess maybe like early that Sunday, maybe I'll do it, and then I'll release the final update on Twitter or something right before the bracket gets released. I don't know, but we're coming down the stretch here, man. So let's get into it. I don't even remember like what changed really between last week and this week because I did the Thursday one, so I'm like, I don't remember what the intermediate one looked like. I did tweet it out though, but of course I keep updating the same one, so you can't really exactly see what it was anymore. There might be a history, might be able to see a history on this. I don't even know, but either way, we'll get into it. The 1 seeds, there's been no change, although remember, this is from earlier today, so this is before the results of tonight. Obviously, Kansas did just beat Arizona, so Arizona is no longer undefeated. Arizona will still be on the 1 line. They may still be the overall 1 as well, because the rest of these teams are also not undefeated. So the only undefeated team left is Miami, Ohio. Isn't that just great? And I don't even have them in here at all this week, so isn't that just awesome? Because they're not that good. Although if they run the table, the committee's probably going to put them in. Well, I mean, if they run the table and then they lose their in their conference championship probably, and that's their only loss, the committee will probably put them in, even though I don't think they should be. But anyway, the number 1s are the same: Arizona, Michigan, Duke, and then Connecticut I think is a bit further behind the rest of those 3. Duke did lose to North Carolina the other day on a buzzer beater. Duke had a big lead, blew that game. I don't think I don't think that's going to bounce them from the 1 line either. Houston continues to play really well. They're up on the 2 line. I think they were lower on the 2 line, but they're still there. Iowa State, very, very good, still on the 2 line. Illinois, I believe, did just lose to Michigan State, but they remain on the 2 line. That's not a horrible loss at all. And Nebraska continues to play fine again, and they also remain on the 2 line, which is going to get interesting because Nebraska has never won a tournament game, and probably people have that in their minds, man. They're probably going to pick the 15 seed to upset them. That's probably not going to happen. They'll probably win that 1 game, and I could see them losing in the next round, depending on the matchup that they draw and whatever. Purdue on the 3 line. Purdue is really, really good. Like, dude, I think every team that's between the 1s and the 3s, all of these teams are legit for the most part right now. Purdue on the 3 line, they're good, although they have been struggling to kind of put teams away, man. So I don't know. Michigan State just beat Illinois. So I think I might have had them, I either had them lower on the 3 or maybe even on a 4, but they're back up to the 3 line. Kansas, with that win over Arizona, they might move up slightly, but I don't see them moving off the 3 line probably. And then Florida has moved back up to the 3 line as they continue to roll in the SEC, and I believe they are the best team in the SEC. Gonzaga because of the weakness of their conference and because of the strength of the teams above them, and because that loss to Portland was pretty bad. They're on the 4 line now, although I think that was kind of an outlier type of result, really. Although they have struggled in a couple of games recently. Vanderbilt is still on the 4 line. This Vandy team is, I think they're pretty legit, and a lot of people just don't really think so because it's like they came from out of nowhere. They did make the tournament last year. I don't know how different the team is this year, but they're pretty legit if you look at the analytics and stuff. They're still on the 4 line. And this, of course, as I always point out, the at-large bids that I put in here are pretty much based off of the resume, so I think this is what the committee is going to do for the resume. But then I try to predict who's going to get the auto bids by who I think is the best team in that conference at any given time and not who's currently leading it. So that's where I differ from the other bracketologies. Texas Tech is the other team on the 4 line. They're also a strong team, man. They did have that loss at home to Kansas, which wasn't a horrible loss, especially since Kansas just beat Arizona. But they're on the 4. North Carolina, with that win over Duke, they still remain on the 5 line, though. I could see them winding up maybe being a 4 at some point, but I really don't think North Carolina is this good, to be honest. Like, they'll be in the tournament, of course. They're North Carolina. As long as they're decent enough, they'll get in. But Ken Baum has them, like, outside the top 30, I think. So, yeah, that was a really good win over Duke. It was at home. I think Duke took their foot off the gas, whatever. But, yeah, I think about a 5 is probably right for now, at least, where North Carolina will be. Alabama, not as good as they were last year, of course, as I keep saying. They're on the 5 line as well. They may have lost a couple of games in a row, too. Alabama, I know they got blown out by Florida. I think, did they? No, they bounced back and they beat Auburn. So they're on the 5 line. St. John's, not really factoring in what they did tonight. They did win again. And, they won in the Pitino battle. I forgot to do that today.
Yeah, inside, I want to kill myself.
I forgot to play that drop when I talked about that game. It was father versus son, Rick versus Richard, and Xavier gave them an issue again and took them into overtime, man. So Xavier might be a fade in their next game. Charles, what's up? Thanks for hanging out. I'm still pissed about the whatever that game was. Should have been an easy win. I never should have added Bucknell, although it looks like adding Portland was a good move. So at least it'll be a wash. Well, maybe better than a wash, depending on what the money line will get on Portland there. But the other game should have been a winner. Unbelievably bad beat on whatever the hell it was. North Alabama. I'll talk about it tomorrow. I'm pissed. I am pissed. Rick versus Dick. Yeah. I think they're both named Richard, though. Like, technically. Tennessee also on the 5 line. They just lost again to Kentucky, which is not that great. Arkansas on the 6 line. Decent team. I mean, they're going to be pretty dangerous, I think, in the tournament. They're pretty good. And BYU is not that bad either. BYU has lost 4 games in a row as they're stepping up in competition and not doing that well. But maybe they're being overlooked at this point. But they have dropped to the 6. Louisville on the 6. Louisville just absolutely drilled NC State tonight. I don't know if that'll affect the seedings too much, but Louisville, they're legit, but they need to be hitting their threes to really do it. But, man, they put up a ton of points tonight. And I was correct about that guy. I feel like I was correct about every game I talked about that didn't make my card. I was right about Xavier covering. I was right about Chicago State covering, in college basketball at least. Clemson also on the 6th line. Clemson's a pretty legit team too, man. They just don't really get the accolades because they play an ugly style of basketball. Kentucky with the win over Tennessee again. They've had a very up and down season, though. They're on the 7 line. St. Louis remains on the 7 line, dominating the A-10. I still don't think they've lost since whatever that one loss was. They really early in out-of-conference play to some good team. Iowa also on the 7 line, just playing some pretty sneaky, ugly, slow basketball there with the Ben McCollum. In the Ben McCollum era, I guess, let's say. And then NC State I have on the 7, not factoring in tonight's loss, but I don't think that'll knock them too much there. Villanova on the 8. I mean, Villanova, the Big East is just not that good, man. So I don't know what we want to do with Villanova as I scratch my ear here. This hat, this Bruins hat. I'm going to burn my Bruins hat, man, because it's itching. It's making me itch. And then Auburn is on the 8. They had a chance to get a good win over Alabama, man, and didn't do it, but we still have them in the tournament. We have Utah State still winning the Mountain West, and they're getting the 8 right now. They've righted the ship after a couple of losses, and they've been rolling again. I believe they had a win over San Diego State in there as well, if I'm not mistaken, at some point. Most recently, I think they just got by Wyoming. UCF on the 8. I think UCF is overvalued. Like, I think they're overrated, man. But they probably will make the tournament again just because they have a couple of they have a fairly strong resume, let's say, including that win over Texas Tech where we had them the other day. But they did, they lost to Houston off of that, I guess, which wasn't that horrible of a loss because Houston is very, very good. It might be made in China. I don't know. This is the Happy Gilmore version of the Bruins hat. It has a really, really, like, big visor. The visor, like, sticks way out. I don't know. Texas A&M on the 9 line, which is hilarious because they're still, like, right near the top of the SEC. But even the bracketologists, I think, will tell you they're not really that good. SEC just as a whole is down this year. But Texas A&M is behind Florida, Virginia, Alabama, Tennessee, Kentucky, Arkansas. They're behind all these different teams. Auburn. And probably that's actually legit. They are probably like only the 7th or 8th best team in the SEC when all is said and done, based on the analytics and whatever. SMU still making the tournament on the 9 line. Georgia also there as we start getting into kind of the bubble teams here. Wisconsin had that kind of BS loss to Indiana there, still sitting on the 9. St. Mary's still holding in the tournament with a 10 seed here. UCLA, just based on name, I just see UCLA being able to get one of these last spots. USC. Oh, we're in the last 4 teams to make the round of 64. The last 4 buys into the tournament I have is UCLA, USC. I think those teams have been hovering around this spot for a while. Indiana, after their win over Wisconsin, has played themselves into the tournament and off the play-in. And Miami, Florida, still hanging around there with a decent resume in the ACC. The play-ins, the last 4 teams in. Texas is still in there. Texas is good enough. Like, I think they should be in the tournament just based on their analytics. They should be in. They got to get some wins, man. I think they have been getting some wins recently, so they're there. San Diego State has played themselves into the play-in as well. They're playing well in the Mountain West. Ohio State still hovering there in the play-in, and then Santa Clara has moved their way into the play-in for me, and I think they're legit. Like, the analytics have them there. I think they should be in. I don't know if the committee will really put them in, but right now, based on their resume and the fact that they're actually leading the WCC, that's kind of what vaulted them in here for me, is that they actually overtook Gonzaga, at least briefly, in the conference standings. First 4 out, New Mexico has now fallen to the first 4 out. Cal is still sitting there, even though I don't really think Cal is that legit. I don't think any of these 3 are. Cal, Oklahoma State, and Virginia Tech. I really don't think they're that good, but they're all in the first 4 out right now based on having decent-looking resumes. Next 4 out, Seton Hall, TCU, Baylor, and now VCU. VCU does have the analytics that make them look good, but I just don't think KenPom really gets weighed that heavily, although the committee does say that they use it as of, I don't know, probably several years ago. It doesn't seem like they really do, but I don't know. That's why I had to put there in the next 4 out based on the other teams that kind of had the resume that was good enough. And as you can see, Miami, Ohio does not make the cut right now. I know I had them hovering around the next 4 out for a while, but right now I do not, even though, yes, they did win again against Marshall in the Sun Belt versus MAC Challenge or whatever. I don't think we have any change in the auto bids right now. We have Tulsa winning the AAC, the American Conference, getting an 11 seed, even though they did lose to South Florida the other day, which I said I thought they would on the road. But again, I'm doing this based off of pretty much power ratings, who I think is the best team. The best team isn't going to win the conference tournament, but it's the best predictive measure, I think, of who's going to win the conference tournament right now over who's currently in first place, even though the first place might get like home court advantage and stuff in some of these tournaments. But once we see how the tournaments actually shape up and we see what the odds are once the tournament fields are out, then we can kind of adjust these a little bit to see who really has the best odds. Vermont still winning this atrocious America East, and I have them still in the 16 seed play-ins and down in the worst 16 seed play-in. They haven't even been playing that well in the America East. They're losing some games. That conference is atrocious. But they still should win it as the best team there. St. Louis, of course, winning the A10. Right now, this is not a 2-bid conference. VCU would be the closest team to making it one. They're getting a 7 seed. It will be a 2-bid conference if St. Louis loses the conference tournament, though, because they will definitely get in unless something really crazy happens. Them on the 7 line, of course. So if they do lose in the conference tournament in the A10, then that would become a 2-bid league. There would be a bid steal. Last year we had very few, actually. Duke still winning the ACC, obviously. They're on the 1 line. They're definitely the best team in the ACC. Doesn't mean they'll win the conference tournament, but yes, they are the best. Austin Peay still winning the A-Sun right now. It's somewhat close between them and Central Arkansas now, who won again tonight and pushed against me, which I'm not happy about. And then Lipscomb's still kind of in the running there as well. Probably it's those 3 teams in the A-Sun right now vying for it. Austin Peay getting a 15 seed, though. It's a bad conference. Arizona's still winning the Big 12 and getting a 1 seed. Connecticut's still winning the Big East, of course, and getting a 1 seed. Portland State still winning the Big Sky, 15 line for them. They do have the best defense in the Big Sky at the very least, and I think just based on the metrics, they have become the best team in that conference right now. Big South, there's no question. It's still High Point being the best. They're on the 13 line. It should be either them or Winthrop. I don't really see any other team in that conference really being able to do anything. Radford is kind of a step back from those. Really, it should be High Point again. They do have a pretty big gap between them and everybody else. Michigan winning the Big Ten, of course, and being a 1 seed. Big West, we still have Hawaii, although it's Hawaii. UC Irvine still in the mix, and UC Santa Barbara's kind of played themselves into the picture, and maybe UC San Diego, not to be counted out, still in that conference. Hawaii getting a 13 seed there. Colonial, we do have Hofstra winning it and getting a 14 seed. I didn't see what happened tonight. If the game is even over, I don't know. I think it was a late-night degenerate special with maybe I'm wrong. Maybe it was earlier on. I'll have to see what happened between UNC Wilmington and Charleston, because I think those are the other 2 legitimate contenders in that conference right now. It probably should be one of those 3 teams. Conference USA, Liberty is definitely far and away the best team there, so no change there. They are getting a 13 seed. Horizon, we have Oakland winning it, although it's still Oakland, Wright State, still kind of right there. IPFW kind of in the mix there. Don't know if Green Bay and Doug Gottlieb really should be considered to be in the mix there for it. But again, the Horizon League seems like it's always chaos in their tournament because they don't really have many, or if any. I think they might have like 1 bye for the top couple of teams. UNC Wilmington 1. Interesting. All right. Yeah, I mean, I still have Hofstra winning that one. I don't think it would really change what I'm doing here, but interesting. Ivy League, Yale is still far and away the best team in the Ivy. They're winning that and getting the 12 as far as I'm concerned right now. Still have Marist winning the MAAC. That hasn't changed for a while. It's a very bad conference. They're getting a 16 seed now, bumped off the 15 line by Navy, even though I don't even think Navy is really legit at all. The MAAC, it could be a whole number of teams there. Siena has played themselves right into the mix there. They're pretty good in that conference. Merrimack, I don't know how legit Merrimack really is, that they are up near the top of that conference still. St. Peter's, who had made noise in that tournament not that long ago and has made the tournament, I think, at least a couple of times in the recent years. They're still kind of in the mix there in that conference as well. Maybe Quinnipiac. Those are probably the top teams in that conference. The MAC, of course, I still have Akron winning the MAC and getting a 12 seed. I know everybody wants it to be Miami, Ohio, because they're undefeated, but Akron is still considerably better than them, according to Ken Baum's metrics. Howard winning this awful MEAC conference and getting the last spot in. No change there either. A 16 seed play in for them. That MEAC conference, I mean, I don't even know what's going on in that conference. Probably between them and maybe NC Central or something like that as the 2 best teams in that conference right now. Missouri Valley, I do have Belmont still winning it and getting a 12 seed. But again, it's between them, Murray State, Illinois State, maybe even Northern Iowa, just because their defense could play themselves through that. They could play through that tournament with that defense, potentially. The winner will probably be amongst that group. Mountain West, Utah State winning it, like I said, although if somebody else wins it, it could be a bid steal, though we do have San Diego getting into the tournament right now, and they are also, of course, in the running for that tournament. So is New Mexico, of course, so that could be a bid steal there for them. Grand Canyon is not that bad in that conference. Could be a bid steal there. Probably going to be one of those 4, I would imagine, getting it. And then am I missing somebody in that conference? I don't even know anymore, man. Maybe Nevada, but probably not any of the other teams. Northeast is still Long Island, and then everybody else, although it's a terrible conference, they're getting a 16 seed play-in game there. But the rest of that conference is just really, really bad. UT Martin still winning the Ohio Valley for now, getting a 16 seed as well. Not one of the play-ins, though. They're with Marist getting a bye to get destroyed by a 1 seed there. That Ohio Valley Conference is pretty bad. It's probably between UT Martin, Lindenwood, and Southeast Missouri State still, probably, and maybe Tennessee State. I feel like I just reiterate myself every time, man. I don't know if this show is even helpful at all. Patriot League is still Navy. They beat us tonight. They beat Bucknell and covered. I'm not happy about that. They're getting a 15 seed now. I still think I don't think they're that legit. We'll see what they do against Colgate the next time up, because it's probably going to be them or Colgate winning that conference. Maybe American, but they're kind of a step behind those teams. SEC, like I said, Florida. They're on the 3 line right now. It could be one of these other teams. I mean, Vandy probably next in line for that. But for now, it's the way it is. Southern Conference, the SoCon is still East Tennessee State getting a 14 seed. The teams that are closest to them probably, I almost said Marist again, Mercer and Furman probably are the other teams that are closest to them in that conference right now. I don't know if anybody else really could play their way up in that, but it could be a chaotic tournament again because there's no real dominant team in that conference. 14 seed, we do have Troy winning the Sun Belt, and there is kind of a gap between Troy and everybody else. Like South Alabama, Marshall kind of in the mix there. Maybe Arkansas State, even though they're a step back in the conference standings. They're still pretty good power ratings-wise. And then, let's see. West Coast Conference, still Gonzaga winning it and getting a 4 seed right now. I mean, it's them, and then it's kind of everybody else. St. Mary's and Santa Clara are both up against each other. They're close, but Gonzaga is a step above everybody else there. And then it'll be interesting because it's a fairly competitive conference this year. San Francisco's not horrible, and then there is like Seattle, not really that bad either in that conference, although they did lose for us the other day. And then the WAC is still Utah Valley and getting a 13 seed. The WAC, again, it's just, I don't know. I always say it's WAC, which it is. They only have 7 teams in there now, so the teams are going to play each other 3 times in a lot of cases. It's a very weird conference, but they have to get an auto bid. It's probably Utah Valley, then Cal Baptist in that conference, then maybe UT Arlington. I don't know. We'll see what happens. Utah Valley, I think, would be a first-time tournament entry if they do get in. And then, I skipped I skipped a few. I skipped the Southland, which is still McNeese and getting a 12 seed. I don't know how did I skip over? I think it's because I saw Troy and just went to them and skipped over these other 3. Yeah, I still have McNeese winning it over Stephen F. Austin. They're still power rated higher. They split the season series, so we'll see what happens there. Probably going to be one of those 2, though. The rest of that conference is significantly worse. The SWAC is still Bethune-Cookman getting one of the 16 play-ins there. Very, very bad conference, the SWAC. Probably between them and Southern right now as far as the top couple of teams in that conference. Summit League, we do have it as St. Thomas again here. Power rated higher than North Dakota State again. Now, North Dakota State lost a couple of games there. Even though they beat St. Thomas, we got St. Thomas winning it again. They're on the 14 line. And that is it, I believe. Well, actually, yeah, we always look at Lunardi to see what he's got going on here. He last updated his February 6th, so he's still a few days behind, just like he usually is. His ones are Arizona, Michigan, UConn, and Duke, same. Not expected to be any different there. His bubble, his last 4 buys are St. Mary's, who I have in, and I have them in the last team right before the last 4 buys. He's got Georgia, who I have more solidly in. UCLA and USC, I do have them in the last 4 buys like he does. His last 4 in, he has Miami. I have them in the last 4 buys. He's got Texas, and so do I. New Mexico, who I have out right now in the first 4 out. And Ohio State, he has in the last 4 in, so do I. He's got Cal in the first 4 out. Oklahoma State, Virginia Tech, I have all 3 of those the same, I think. And then, did I forget about Missouri? Did I not put Missouri in? I'm an idiot. Missouri needs to be in here. I'm a total idiot. I apologize to Missouri fans here. I'm not in edit mode right now, I don't think. No, because I'm on my Toadstool Sports account right now. I think Missouri would need to go in the first 4 out for me, and then Virginia Tech gets bumped down to the next 4 out, and VCU gets bumped out, I think is what would happen there. So I apologize. I should update it before I tweet it out or whatever. Yeah, the MAAC. Oh, thank you. I don't know if anybody else loves it, though. Yes, I forgot about Missouri. Thank you, Joe. Thanks, Lenardi. Seton Hall, Missouri, TCU, and Baylor. I do have them all out of the tournament in some capacity. I have 3 of those with him in the next 4 out, but I have Missouri in the first 4 out. So we don't differ a whole lot. Usually we don't. My field of 68 differs with him by 1. I have San Diego State getting in the last 4 in instead of New Mexico, I believe. So I'm choosing a different Mountain West team than he is, and that is the only difference that we have pretty much. So that's going to do it. I'll be back. I'm going to do an early morning show tomorrow, and hopefully it's not going to kill me doing all the college basketball. Hopefully it's not a ton. Hopefully it's at least a normal Tuesday slate. I will be early because I have a stupid doctor's appointment, so it's probably going to be quite early tomorrow. I got to figure out when I really want to do it, and I better get it done in time to leave and go to that thing, so hopefully I can do it. I'm not going to get much sleep, but that's going to be the way it is. Thanks, everybody. Dirty Sock, what's up, man? Yeah, that's right. I'll see everybody tomorrow. Charles, Dirty Sock, thanks for hanging out. Learn to Toad on Twitter. Learn to Toad on Instagram. You can subscribe to me on Twitter. Subscribe to the channel here, of course. Give me good comments here. Listen on audio. Spotify, Apple, give me good reviews over there. Covered in Uke, my Uke channel on YouTube. You can check that out. Subscribe over there. Good comments on there as well. Patreon.com/LearnToToad. You get some bonus Uke stuff there. Not totally up to date right now. It's close. And Losercast. We'll be back tomorrow night with that. The new Losercast. Don't know who my loser is going to be. Charles, I have not looked at your messages. There might be a suggestion in there that I might take. I don't know. I am not good at keeping up with the Instagram stuff. So that's going to do it for me, though, for now. I'll be back at some point really early tomorrow. Peace for now.